teach you how to play Ceylon.
I'm Corey.
I'm Justin. We're
And
Cardboard in the Rough.
like he said, that is us. We're going to teach you how to play Ceylon. So let's get started.
First, place the main board on the table. Then you'll shuffle up and get 4 of the large elevation tiles, and you'll place 1 in each district. The districts are separated by rivers. How you place them doesn't matter too much. It's supposed to be just randomized. Then on top of those elevated districts, you'll place 1 elevation district, like so. Again, where you place it on there does not matter. Next, you will mix all of the counselor tiles, which looks like this, face down, shuffle them up, and place 1 on each counselor space. This is set up for a 3 or 4 player game, but in a 2-player game, you would remove one of these 2 districts. So you would just leave out the elevation tiles and the counselor tiles. Next, you will get these action cards, shuffle them, and then place them in this space on the game board. Next, you will take the 4 district bonus tiles, which are numbered 10, 6, 3, and 1, and you'll put them in that order on this space right here. Take the technology tokens and put them in a stack here. Next, you will sort the rupees, tea chests, and plantations into separate piles and place them where they're within reach of all players. You will give each player a player board with all of their tokens, 1 black tea crate, 15 rupees, and place them all beside the game board. Each player places 1 of their discs on 0 space on the point track. Shuffle the contract tokens and place 3 of them face up along this train. Place the rest of them face down at the end, forming a supply. The player who drank tea most recently receives the starting player marker. Beginning with the starting player, each player will select a starting location. They will take their pawn, a plantation tile, and the leftmost plantation marker on their board. Select any level 0 space in any district that does not already have a plantation. Place your plantation token, marker, and pawn on the top. This is repeated for each other player. Now each player places 1 of their discs on the technology track. The starting player, their disc should be placed on top. Lastly, each player will receive 3 cards from the action deck. Now you're set up and ready to go. So let's talk about the objective of the game first. You're trying to end with the most points. The game ends when either the action deck is empty, meaning a player draws the very last card in this deck, or if any player puts all of their plantation markers on the board. There are several different ways to get points. On each player's board, there is a score reminder. Across 3 different areas, players will be ranked 1st to 4th and get varying amounts of points. Whoever has the most money at the end gets 10 points. The player with the second most gets 6 points, third is 3 points, and fourth is 1 point. This is repeated for the area controlled in each district, and to control an area, you need to have the most plantation markers as well as a disc on the counselor track for that district. Each district is scored individually.
And it's scored according to that same 10, 6, 3, and 1 system.
Also, the tech track is scored in the same way. Whoever is farthest along the tech track gets 10 points. Second is 6, 3, and 1.
You lose points if you don't use all of your plantation markers. 2 points per plantation marker not used at the end of the game.
You can also score some points as the game is being played. If you fulfill a contract, you can choose to either get rupees or points. You will use those points or rupees immediately. Also, if you are the first player to have a plantation in each district, you get 10 bonus points. The second player to do so gets 6, third 3, fourth 1.
You can also get points along the tech track as you advance. Towards the top of the tech track, you can get an additional 5 points on one spot and 5 more points on the final spot. Okay, so that's the objective and how you get points. Now, playing the actual game is pretty straightforward.
It's fairly quick-paced. Starting with the starting player, they will draw their hand, or look at their hand, and choose one of their 3 cards to play. The cards have 2 different actions that can be done on each card.
2 major actions.
They're called 2 main actions. They are represented by both a picture and an icon in the upper left corner. When a player chooses to play a card, they can play it with either action facing this circle here. That player that played the card gets to use that action or one of the 2 alternative actions. Then everyone else around the table gets to use the second major action on this card or one of the 2 alternative actions.
So, we're going to explain each action that is available to you. So, first, with this plantation marker action, this means that you can make a new plantation. If your person was on an empty space, then you can take the plantation action. It costs you 5 rupees, and you would put down,
which is indicated here,
on the side, it shows 5, a plantation token, and you would put down a plantation marker. So that is how you complete the planting action.
A second action you can do is to harvest. That's represented with this bucket. If you are already standing on a plantation, yours or one belonging to another player, you can use this action. This will harvest some tea leaves for you to store in your warehouse, which you can later use to fulfill these contracts. If you are standing on someone else's plantation when you take that action, they immediately get 1 point. If you are on a level 0 plantation, that gives you black tea leaves. If you are on a level 1 plantation, which is 1 level up in elevation, that would give you green tea, and at the highest elevation, that gives you white tea.
Next action available is the technology track. So you would pay 5 rupees to advance along the technology track. Whenever you do that, everyone else gets 1 rupee because you advanced society.
Another action is the counselor action. You can pay 5 rupees to place a disc on the counselor of that district, wherever you're located, of their track. There are various bonuses that each counselor can give you that are permanent bonuses throughout the rest of the game. You also need to have discs on here in order to score the majority bonuses at the end of the game for each district.
and it's only you're only allowed to have one disc per counselor. So you can't become friends with them multiple times, just once.
And the last action is trading, represented with this little train car. When you trade, you will take the cubes out of your warehouse that match the cubes shown on any one of these contracts. For example, let's say if I have one black tea and two green teas in my warehouse, I can use the trading action to take this contract and I would place it on my board right here and return these to the supply. This contract, at the time, I can either turn it in for 4 points, moving up on the point track, or get 11 rupees. When you are trading, you can only fulfill contracts if you have open spaces for them. Right now, this player has no open spaces. You can, however, stack contracts of the same number. So we have here a number 4, and if this player wants to get any of these contracts, they have to make a new space by planting a new plantation. Then they'll be able to have 2 different ones. But if a 3 comes up, they will be able to stack the 3 on top of this contract.
And that's it for all of the major actions. As far as your minor actions go, they're on every single card and are available at all times. It includes get 2 rupees from the supply or move. And when you move, you can either move 1, 2, 3, or more, but it does cost you the more that you move.
The first space that you move is always free, costs nothing. The second space that you move costs 1. The third space that you move costs 2. Not 2 total, just that third move. So if you moved from here to here, that would cost 3 rupees. And if I want to move here, that's going to cost me 3 more, which would be a total of 6.
So it certainly adds up if you want to be a runner. I think that's explained all of the actions.
Let's walk through a turn.
Let's do that. I'm the starting player because I last drank tea. So I'll go ahead and go. I'm going to look at my cards and choose one with an action that I am capable of doing this turn. So I'm looking at what I have available, and I only have 1 tea, so I'm going to avoid trading, and I'm on a space that already has a tea plantation, so I'm not going to put down a tea plantation. What I am going to do is advance along the technology track. So I face the card to the top to show that that's the action I'm taking, and I pay 5, and everyone else gets 1. That's just how that action goes. Next, the other players all take one of the other actions.
As part of your tech track action, you get...
Oh, yes, I get these tokens. We hadn't yet mentioned what those tokens do.
We'll get to that when we come back around to your turn.
We
use
will.
it next time.
I'll use it next time.
But as you were saying, all other players now get the choice of one of the 3 remaining actions. And they don't all have to be
Different.
Everyone else can take the same action.
But you can't choose the one that I chose.
Right. You can't use the major action that is facing this direction
Correct.
as another player. So let's say that the blue player wants 2 rupees. The yellow player is going to move 1 space. And then I'm going to harvest. Since I'm at a level 0 plantation, I get a black tea.
And then, as the final act of my turn, I'm going to replenish my hand back up to 3. And then,
And we will skip around the blue and yellow players.
Because currently they're imaginary.
And then I will take my turn. And all of the cards in my hand are not useful to me. So I will just take one of the alternate actions and I will get 2 rupees.
his turn, I am going to. I'm gonna move because I can't do the other action. And then the other players do other things.
They would all get an opportunity as well.
There we go. They're happy with that.
Once everyone has taken their action, I've replenished my hand up to 3 cards.
And we keep going like that.
This keeps going until the end of the game.
Mhm.
Now, we mentioned this token. This is an optional action that you can take if you have the tile. After playing your major action, or minor action, alternate action, you can use that tile to take one of any action except for moving up on the tech track.
So, let's say that you planted and then you wanted to go ahead and also get a contract with the counselor. You could do that if you had one of these tech tokens.
Or if you wanted to harvest immediately.
Right. If you wanted to harvest immediately after you planted, or you wanted to harvest and then you wanted to trade. The options are finite.
This goes until the end game. Then you do go into final scoring, which is what we mentioned earlier. You would look at each district, see who is the majority leader in each district as long as they have counselor tokens, and score the points for that accordingly. You also get points for having different numbers of T contracts. If you have only a single number on your T contracts, then you get 1 point. 2 numbers is 3 points, 3 is 6 points, 4 is 10 points, and all of them is 15 points. We recommend that if you play this game, that you brew some tea to drink with it.
In fact, it's written in the rules in invisible ink, so don't go looking for it, but it's definitely there. Also, I'm lying.
And that should be all of the rules. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or if we missed anything. But this is Ceylon.
Thank you for staying with us.
We're Cardboard in the Rough. We'll see you next time.